If you look at the aerial footage from above, you'll see that the streets were empty. I mean, Tommy was basically on his own. I mean, he's not even called Tommy, is he? He's actually called Stephen. Yeah, that's not even his real name. I mean, if you believe the bull in the mainstream media right now, there's probably more bull at the BBC than there is in this fellow.
They are panicking. They are melting down. They are realising their strategy, which, let's be honest, has succeeded for years, to deride ordinary patriots as racist, as far-right football hooligans, as violent thugs, is now in total collapse. And now they're testing new strategies to try and break down the very obvious revolution that started at Tommy Robinson's Unite the Kingdom rally in London on Saturday. Because even though the regime media keeps using the official police 150,000 figure, they all know that the number of patriots in attendance was at least 10 times as big. At least. An incongruity that Katie Hopkins summed up in her incomparable style.
Tiny rally in the UK, so small. It was called the Unite the Kingdom rally, but obviously they weren't uniting anyone. I mean, they were just racists and fascists and Nazis, particularly the Black Christian Choir, and the Maoris as well should be ashamed of themselves. And no one turned up. Like literally 2 or 3 people turned up, like hardly anyone was there. And if you look at the aerial footage from above, you'll see that the streets were empty. I mean, Tommy was basically on his own. I mean, he's not even called Tommy, is he? He's actually called Stephen. Yeah, that's not even his real name. I mean, if you believe the bull in the mainstream media right now, there's probably more bull at the BBC than there is in this fellow.
So even though the MSM pushback is dark and twisted, in some ways it's also hilarious, right? Look at what happened when the left-wing US network CBS tried to paint Saturday's event as racist.
What do you make of when people call rallies like this racist?
Oh, that's just a buzzword that they've been using for years to try to discourage it. They want to change the West completely and put it under more of an authoritarian rule.
You couldn't make it up. That guest walked in at the perfect time. And even though all her colleagues are using dark and devious strategies and tactics, LBC's Sheila Foghorn was left speechless for once when a Green Party member rang in to reveal she'd joined the march after stopping listening to the MSM lies about Tommy.
A member of the Green Party. You know, I come from a very liberal, lefty, rah, rah, rah. That has always been my vibe. She's given so much to charity. She seems like a really decent person. She's rah, rah, rah. So I looked into it and I read her essay and I kind of spent pretty much the next couple of years reading everything I could about it and found that actually, no, everything that people had said she had said and people were thought of, you know, it wasn't true. I then realised that maybe I shouldn't just be believing everything just because my side said it were true, right?
Well, that's progress. That's good.
I never looked into Tommy Robinson other than just, you know, he's right-wing thug, isn't he? Bit thick. So read everything I could, saw a lot of his interviews, and just realised that he wasn't saying what I had been told by the left wing for the last sort of 10, 15 years that he was saying. It was not as black and white as I had been led to believe.
Well, nothing is.
And nothing ever is it, right?
No.
So the whole J.K. Rowling, then this, and I just thought, you know what? I'm going to go and see. So fed up of being told stuff and then finding out actually that's not what it is.
That was a Green Party member. They are losing the narrative as their lunatic presenters literally tie themselves in knots. Watch this.
Technically English, you need to be white.
No, not exclusively. You
Right.
need to have ancestors who are from this country that have been here more than one generation.
Okay, so we now say that to be ethnically English, you need 2 generations of your family to have been born here? 3, 4?
No, I think you
What do
need
put
to
it
have
as?
some ancestors who have been here for
Some?
hundreds of years.
Hundreds
Because
of years?
It's an insult on your intelligence and mine, Tom. You know, Tom, that your
Tommy
Salisbury
Robinson's
ancestors
family,
have been
Tommy
living
Robinson's
here for
family came from
thousands of
Ireland.
years.
His grandmother
Your
was
ancestors,
Irish.
Tom, have been living here for
No,
thousands
no, no.
of years.
I put myself right. Tommy Robinson's mother was Irish. So
Yeah,
is Tommy
no.
Robinson ethnically English?
No, he's not. He's half.
Okay. It's a confused picture. Neil, thank you very much.
It's not a confused picture at all. You are trying to make it a confused picture. You are trying to make it about race. The sweaty little mess Lewis Goodall was even worse when his attempts at gaslighting and humiliation of patriots didn't work. He just got mad and ended up refusing to continue the debate because, again, he knows he's losing.
You know, Elon Musk came through on a live link talking to Tommy Robinson and so on. Very inspiring, as far as I'm concerned. You might not find it, but I certainly do. And
you find Tommy Robinson inspiring?
Yes.
What do you find inspiring about him?
Oh, I'll tell you, for example, if, you had truths to tell, and somebody said to you, well, I tell you what, you better not tell those truths, because you know what? If you do, we're going to lock you up on your own and stay there for a long time. And if you turn around to that...
Oh, no, wait a minute. Tommy Robinson was put in prison because of contempt of court. It wasn't because he was trying to say anything that was some great truth-telling thing. He was done for contempt of court.
Well, clearly you're not a very good journalist, because if you looked at the video...
Well, no, that's just a statement of fact.
Yes, I'm making you a statement of fact. If you looked at the video that was put out, you will see the people that lied in that situation actually telling you themselves.
Well, he made allegations about a refugee boy. The claims were false. The court found him guilty of libel. He later admitted to having been duped into spreading misinformation. No, this is just a fact, Ed. I mean, it's fine. You can find him inspiring. I think he's a thug. That's fine. We can disagree about that, but we have to. There are just facts. There are such things as facts. Whether you accept them as facts or not is irrelevant. They are facts.
No, they're not. No, they're
right.
not.
No, well, okay.
Yeah. What I can tell you, that the opinion that you're putting out.
No, it's not an opinion. It's facts.
It's not shared by the British people. Right. It's not shared by.
You think Tommy Robinson is a popular figure among the British public, do you?
Well, I'll tell you...
in which case, why weren't there 3 million people there yesterday, or 4 million people? There were about 100,000, 150,000 people. It's dwarfed by the sort of numbers that used to turn up to the Remain rallies during the People's Vote campaign, for example.
That's not true.
It is true.
Those as well. No, but I've been there. Have you been there?
Yep.
Have you been there? I bet you haven't.
To the People's Vote rallies, yeah, I reported from them. And I've been to plenty of Tommy Robinson protests as well.
Let me tell you this. This Tommy Robinson is such a thug and such a racist and all the rest of it, yeah?
Well, he spread lies about the Great Replacement Theory. He spread lies about white genocide. No, but it's just true, Ed. It's just true. You know what?
The propaganda.
Oh.
He's sweating and he's twitching because he knows he's lost. His propaganda, his smears no longer work. That snob is no longer going to be in control of what we want to do with our country. Now, predictably, the new Home Secretary Shabnam Mahmood, a very negative force for Britain, is already trying to politicise Saturday's patriotic gathering in the House of Commons because of a tiny number of arrests, something that I will remind you she never did with the Notting Hill Carnival violence or the BLM riots. As Alison Pearson pointed out, 27 police officers were injured, some of them seriously, during the Black Lives Matter process of 2020. A WPC was knocked from her horse, fireworks and missiles were thrown. BBC News called it largely peaceful. It's not possible for the far left to have a violent protest. Watch this. If you're enjoying what we're doing here on Outspoken, please consider joining our thriving community over on Substack, www.outspoken.live. You can sign up completely for free, but Substack is so important to me. It is a free speech platform. It protects me from big tech cancellation. Plus, you get to communicate directly with me. Head on over www.outspoken.live, enter your email address and sign up today.
On Saturday, well over 100,000 protesters marched in London. In doing so, many exercised an ancient right, the right to peaceful protest. But not everyone did. Some turned on the brave police officers who were there to keep the peace. 26 officers were injured and 24 protesters were arrested. Those violent thugs will face the full force of the law. But those who turn to violence on Saturday do not represent who this country really is. When a foreign billionaire calls on our citizens to fight against our ancient democracy, I know this is met by the vast majority with a shake of the head. And that's because we are, in truth, a tolerant country. And yes, we are a diverse one too. You can be English with roots here that stretch back 1,000 years. but she can also be English and look like me. The St George's Cross and the Union Jack belong to us all. They are symbols of unity, a kingdom united, and they must never be used to divide us. The words that were used at the weekend are abhorrent, and I know that the vast majority of people in this country will feel the same way, whether you're a hostile state or a hostile foreign billionaire. No one gets to mess with British democracy.
Interestingly, though, even the Antifa mob behind the Stand Up to Racism counter-protest have admitted it was a massive flop, with the most famous person showing up being Narendra Kaur.
And we've just gotten back from the counter demo against Tommy Robinson. And I think before we go to the lessons, we really have to look at the reality of what this demo was, and that is a pretty humiliating defeat.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at the numbers alone, Tommy Robinson's side seems to have gotten around 1 million, and on our side, lucky if it was 15,000, more likely
more like
10,000.
More like 5.
So I think maybe if we just start there, you know, like how did we get here?
I mean, before that, like, we have to be clear about this. Like, our side was completely defeated. Tommy Robinson won hands down without even a fight. You know, the reports are different regarding the numbers, but yeah, the videos show the police said 100,000. It's obviously had more than that, and our side was totally the counter demo was small, was really tepid, wishy-washy, and what was also surprising is how confident and emboldened the right was, because the demo was attacked at Whitehall, people were trapped, and you know they were ready for showdown.
You are losing because you're haters and wreckers, but it is fascinating that even they admit that these claims of 100,000 in the crowd are lunacy. But by the way, they're also exaggerating their own numbers because there were not 15,000 people there. There were lucky to be 5,000. Perhaps most interesting to me, though, has been the take from the big beasts of the MSM, including Andrew Neil, who is one of the worst breeds of snobs, who looks down his nose at the people and thinks his job is to stop us getting what we want.
For the first time, Trevor Phillips got it right. This was not, everybody on that march was not on the far right, but there were people on the far right who were on the march, and some of them resulted in entirely unnecessary violence. And I hope, like all violence in any political demonstration from whatever part of the political spectrum, the courts will take a very stern line on that. Free speech is precious, but free speech depends on the ability to express our views without fear of violence. And to put the police in the line on that as well is just unacceptable. So I think, you know, a lot of the march involved people who are just deeply worried and unhappy about the direction of the country. And I think rather than condemn that, we should understand that. There is a broad feeling across the political spectrum that the political class, the political elite, are letting us down. Having said that, I think that a British politics in which seminal roles are being played by Tommy Robinson, Elon Musk, Steve Bannon, I'm afraid that sends a shiver down my spine. That is not the British way and is not the way to go. And that's a direction which fills me with fear if we go further down that road.
Why, posh boy? Seriously, very easy for you to say from your house in Monaco. He's making these comments from the tax haven of Monaco. But even though he is so out of touch, even Andrew Neil understands why the ordinary British people have had enough with the media.
So why are some people giving those figures a hearing, do you think?
Because they feel the mainstream's let them down. I mean, let's not forget, by the summer of last year, people were up to their eyeballs with the Tories. They wanted a change. They had no great faith in Labour, but they thought, well, they can't be worse. Well, lo and behold, we know we've just been discussing what's been happening with Labour in power. And I think as a result of that, and that's why British politics is at a watershed and why the traditional parties are finding it so hard to get support. We've said before Labour and Conservative, when they won elections, used to get over 40% of the vote. Between them, they can't muster 40% of the vote now. And at the time when the centre cannot hold, when people are disillusioned with the mainstream, they go to extremes, whether it's Jeremy Corbyn's party or the Green Party, or whether it is the Steve Bannons and the Elon Musks of this world. It is not a good time.
Unlike Andrew Neil, who is literally commenting from his house in the tax haven of Monaco when he was at GB News. Because remember, I worked with him at the start of GB News. He literally demanded the bosses pay for a private jet to get him from Monaco to London. So I really don't think we need Andrew Neil telling us that Tommy Robinson shouldn't be involved in the state of Britain from Monaco. So at least Trevor Phillips of Sky News actually went to the rally, and his reporting, which the broadcaster initially deleted, has clearly stunned his colleagues. Watch.
I think the thing that marked out Saturday was that this wasn't just the sort of remnants of the old National Front or BNP, the kind of hardcore of racists who are basically in politics to essentially eliminate or get rid of from this country people like me. This was a rally of more than 100,000 people, of the sort of person that you'd meet in a country pub if you'd gone for a walk. Or if you're going to the theatre, you might line up next to while you're waiting for the loo or a drink at half time. This was, if you like, the quiet middle Britain. And the significance of that is, for those people to come out in these numbers, first of all, I think is a surprise to conventional politics. Certainly surprised Tommy Robinson, by the way. I don't think they had any idea these kinds of numbers. But more importantly than that, and this is perhaps why you've seen what you've seen with Danny Kruger today, it has given a signal to people on the centre right that the firewall that essentially puts people on this part of the populist right beyond the pale has collapsed.
But have you noticed that the whole tone, even from Trevor Phillips, is to try and say that the politicians need to change to stop this movement, rather than actually just embracing the movement and the patriots ourselves? It's more of the same trickery to keep us ordinary folk in our box. And I don't think it's going to work anymore.
What they would call conventional politics, and they're looking for alternatives. I think the other point here is that people like us are constantly quizzing politicians and saying, what's your solutions, what's your policy, and so on and so forth. This group of people who are out on that march, and the people who are like them, their families and so on, don't care about that. What they care about is, do you understand the kind of things that bother me? So politics has got to find a way of responding not just to the logic and the kind of questions that you or I might ask politicians. It's got to find a way of responding to that emotional feeling that something has changed in a way that people do not like.
And I know a lot of people are praising Trevor Phillips because his reporting from the day was honest, and I will give him that. But you're going to want to listen to this too, because on the ultra-leftist Times radio this morning, he actually went on air and suggested that Tommy Robinson had booked a black gospel choir to perform Jerusalem to close the event for strategic reasons, which is, in my view, a shockingly racist comment in itself. And then you'll see the cretinous presenter on Times Radio, Stig Abel, decide to downplay the entire Christian faith. But first, we've always associated chocolate with weight gain. But did you know it's actually been shown to help with fat loss? Studies show that cocoa flavonols, the active compounds in high-quality cocoa, can support fat metabolism, improve insulin sensitivity, and even help reduce abdominal fat. But you'd have to eat so much chocolate to get those benefits that the sugar and calories would cancel them out, or worse, lead to weight gain, not to mention the heavy metals like lead and cadmium found in many cocoa products. This is why I drink Morning Bean by Verso. It's a rich chocolate blend with all the proven benefits of cocoa without the junk. Every batch is third-party tested for heavy metals, so you're getting pure high flavanol cocoa you can actually feel good about. Instead of caffeine, it uses theobromine, a natural compound in cocoa that delivers all-day energy without overstimulating your nervous system. Plus, its ingredients are shown to support muscle growth and performance, improve metabolism, and provide micronutrients from superfoods and electrolytes to rehydrate and fuel your body. So yes, chocolate can help you lose fat, just not in the candy bar form. Since tanking Morning Bean, I've turned my morning ritual into something that supports my energy, my metabolism, and my goals. So start your day with Morning Bean for research-backed detox, energy, and health. Click the link below or visit morning.ver.so/outspoken and use the code outspoken for 15% off. That's morning.ver.so/outspoken, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show.
Noted, or the people who are reporting it perhaps don't want to say. I mean, it was striking, and this is the last point I want to make about the march. Tommy Robinson had hired a gospel group, black gospel group, to sing Jerusalem to close the march. And that speaks to a kind of tactical sophistication that this movement is acquiring, because they were clearly aiming off for the accusation that this would be a white supremacist event. And if you were there, that's clearly not what it was.
I wonder it's also, Trevor, this sort of religion as nostalgia. This is why I'm suspicious of the rise of religions. In America, it's been long-standing. I think religion in this country is a shorthand for a sort of back-to-basics 50s sense of the time when there was a quiet parish church with no one else in it other than people born in the village. It's a code for something, religion, I think, sometimes.
Oh my God. They just do not get it. They do not get it. They do not understand what is happening in our country. And Labour politicians, by the way, who are facing extinction still don't get it either. Like the party's uber-ambitious Wes Streeting, who leaned into the ridiculous notion that non-white people were too scared to travel to London when the protest was filled with non-white people.
Knocking on doors and talking to local residents in Clayhall, picking up local issues. Lots of concerns, particularly around crime and antisocial behaviour, which I'll raise with the police. One issue that did come up quite a bit this morning, in a way that I found quite depressing, distressing even, was talking to some of our local residents about how they're feeling, given some of the pictures from yesterday's demonstration and how it's making them feel as people whose parents or grandparents came to this country and for whom this community and our country is now their home. There are lots of legitimate concerns around migration, and lots of them will be shared by people in my constituency who come from all sorts of countries around the world and whose family roots lie in all sorts of countries around the world, but are nonetheless proudly British. This is their only home. And so to talk to people who are thinking about moving, questioning whether this country is safe. This flag behind me at Redbridge Primary School belongs to all of us, not just some of us. And I think our community, which is drawn from so many different backgrounds, faiths and cultures, from people like me, whose roots in this country go back as far as they can be traced, through to people whose parents, grandparents, great-grandparents came to this country and helped contribute to Britain and make it what it is today. This is all of our country. It belongs to all of us, not just some of us. And I think it's really important that we all stand together as a community against prejudice, against discrimination, and celebrate and share in what we have in common as proud Brits, people who love this country, love its diversity, and think it's its strength.
Which is exactly what we were doing apart from that none of the million-plus people there do believe that ludicrous line anymore, that diversity is our strength. It clearly is not. As Alison Pearson responded to him, sorry, Wes, Jews are afraid to go into London every weekend. Don't see Labour stopping the hate marches. Unlike pro-Hamas protests, there were no anti-immigrant chants, no toxic placards at the Unite the Kingdom march. It was friendly, welcoming, and almost entirely peaceful. Then there's London's Mayor Sadiq Khan, whose destruction of our capital city is in large part responsible for the current uprising, but who always leans into racial disharmony to try and keep power. He posted a sick-making statement where he said, I know many people, particularly from London's diverse communities, are feeling extremely worried following the events this weekend. It takes me back to how I felt growing up in the 70s and 80s, when far-right political parties marched on our streets. The leaders of the far right are once again attempting to hijack our flag, with minorities being intimidated and fear, hatred and division being sown. As Londoners and as proud Brits, we must unite to reject the far right, just as we have many times before. But it's going to take a huge effort from all of us, from people of all races and backgrounds who are willing to stand up for our British values of equality, inclusion and mutual respect. As Mayor, I'll continue to do everything I can to challenge the far right and all those who peddle the politics of fear and division. I urge other politicians and Londoners to do the same. So, I mean, that statement was full of disgusting tropes, right? And it simply didn't acknowledge the fact that there was a completely diverse crowd full of all so-called minorities. But here's the thing. We didn't give a damn, because all we cared about is wanting to save our country. We don't see colour or sexuality. We just see people who are British and terrified about what's happening here. As Restore Britain's Susan Hall responded to Khan, you have always been of the view that those you don't agree with are far right. Well, we are not. There are many worried Londoners, and you're constantly referring to others as far right is divisive in itself. You should show proper leadership, but you are incapable of that. And Advance UK leader Ben Habib, himself non-white, responded, questions for you. Sadiq Khan, you talk of our flag. Do you understand and accept it as inherently a Christian flag, representing the Christian saints of England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland? Do you understand the United Kingdom is a constitutionally Christian country? People are free to practice their own religion, but do you accept that our Christian culture should prevail? Why did you display a photograph of a white family saying they do not represent London? And I thought Carl Benjamin of the Lotus Eaters put it well as well when he said they are in full war mode against the Unite the Kingdom movement now. They saw the strength of the rally and they know it means change. They'll try and hold back the inevitable for as long as they can and pull every dirty trick in the book. And we can see that, right? We can see that all over. And of course, the most obvious person for the elite class to target is their enemy, Elon Musk, who hit back at Ed Davey as a craven coward for trying to get him arrested after his powerful message on stage at Unite the Kingdom on Saturday. But the British Bashing Corporation, well, they're lapping it up.
Elon Musk's message to Britain has done that rare thing, united British politicians from different parties in condemnation, with the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood tonight calling his language abhorrent. But only one MP trolled Musk with a meme involving SpongeBob SquarePants. That was the Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Ed Davey.
Who should just be ignored. He's an embarrassing irrelevance. Mad Miliband went even further.
Very close associate in the past of Donald Trump, the world's richest man, said to the crowds in terms that they should turn to violence and in terms suggested it was time to overthrow the elected British government. What's your reaction?
Who the hell is this guy is my reaction. Just because you're a billionaire, it doesn't give you a right to come and tell us how to run our country. And look, as far as I can see, this guy is a publicity-seeking narcissist who is inciting violence on our streets. And honestly, you know, he should go back to running his car company and I think, as the Americans would say, butt out of our politics.
No, because we need help. We need help because of globalist goons like you who are bankrupting us, who are taking away our borders, who are destroying our country. And Slippery Starmer has declared war. with everyone at the Uniting the Kingdom rally on Saturday. This is what he said today to his cabinet. He said that the weekend's protests sent a chill through the spines of people around our country. He told the cabinet they are in the fight of our times. He said that the people who should be particularly scared are many ethnic minority Brits. He said that this fight is between patriotic national renewal and decline and toxic division. And when asked why the PM referred to a fight, even though Number 10 had condemned so-called violence, his spokesperson said, in this country, some people do want to sow division. Some people feel intimidated because of the colour of their skin and their background, and Starmer understands how those people feel. Fuck you, Starmer, seriously. Seriously. Because you have declared war today. You should have listened. There was an opportunity for you to see what happened on Saturday, to listen to independent reporters like me who were there, to mainstream media reporters like Trevor Phillips himself, an ethnic minority, who were there and who were telling you these are just ordinary Brits. These are ordinary Brits who are terrified about the state of our country, terrified about the fact that their young daughters are being raped and sexually assaulted by invaders on their high streets. And you could have listened and you could have showed contrition. But what you have done today by describing this as a fight and by saying that those scenes of patriots gathering united sent a chill down your spine, well, you have declared war. It's you who has done it, Starmer, and it is sickening. And that is why you got this response at the rally. And now, the superstar panel. Well, I mean, Leilani Dowding and Elizabeth Fox, both with me. Liz, I mean, I couldn't be any more disgusted listening to what Starmer told the cabinet today. I mean, you know, I don't even think about race or ethnicity, right? It's completely irrelevant to me. But like, there you are. Lizzie, you're a mixed race woman. I mean, literally, I was surrounded by non-white people. Like, can you please just try and educate our Prime Minister and the Mayor of London who are just lying?
Their obsession with skin colour is boring. It's I don't understand it. Well, I do understand it because it's so divisive. But they are the only ones that are obsessed with skin colour. That, you know, if we speak about anything that we disagree on their policies, or we speak about the truths that are happening in this country, you're branded a racist. But it's not working anymore.
But I mean, how can he brand you a racist?
I know.
I mean, I don't get it.
I got branded it just from, you know, when I first started dating my husband, you know, I was called a
Lawrence
traitor.
Fox.
You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. You can have an opinion and you can speak the truth. You can speak the facts that are of actual events that are happening in this country, up and down the country, and you will be branded a racist or a fascist or a Nazi for saying so. It's absolutely ridiculous. But it's the oldest thing I think that they have, that they use. It's the oldest tactic. And no one actually mentioned like skin colour. No one was bothered about skin colour. At that rally, there were all sorts of ethnicities. There were Black, brown, white, Asian, you name it, they were there. So does that mean they were all racist and fascists as well?
Of course, 100%. And I mean, Leilani Dowding, I know you're obviously in the States at the moment, which is why you weren't there, but you have attended many of these rallies in the past. Also, by the way, as a non-white woman who hardly ticks the box of, you know, a far-right racist football hooligan thug, But how shocking was it to hear Trevor Phillips, who I think actually really got his analysis right about the people who were on the march, then turn around this morning and say, oh, Tommy Robinson just hired a black gospel choir to sing Jerusalem because it was strategic. It's like, no, he doesn't see colour. There were all types of colours there.
Everyone that wanted to go went there. They went off their own backs. If that choir didn't want to perform, they wouldn't perform. I saw your interviews. I was watching your live coverage, Dan. It was amazing. I saw you interview Brother Wendell, based in Bougie. I saw the crowds myself, all sorts of YouTubers and influence of all races, all and even nationalities like yourself. You're from New Zealand. You were there. You've come to this country like my mother did to assimilate, be part of the British culture, live the British way of life, the Christian way of life. And this is a thing. If I was to go to Dubai, I would behave in the way that they would expect me to behave. I wouldn't, start preaching what I think and my beliefs and dressing inappropriately.
Yes, exactly. If you go to Dubai, you're not walking around the mall in your bikini because they are a Muslim country and no one is trying to overthrow that. We are a Christian country, but we're a Christian country led by people who either have suicidal empathy, like Starmer, because he actually hates Britain. Genuinely, I really believe that. He hates Britain, he hates the British, he hates the English, he doesn't believe in borders, he wants a globalized world. Or, let's just be honest about it, people, Leilani, who are of the Muslim faith and who do believe that we are not a Christian country and they want to change it.
But that's the thing that we see. I think this is the thing. This is why West Streeting had to say, everything's racist. Because if we unite, all of us people of different races, of different nationalities who come to England, who want to live the British way and the English way, if we all unite, we look at the government and we look at the damage that they are doing, and the government don't want us to look at them. They want us to fight amongst themselves. They don't want us to look at all the people that come here illegally, that don't have a right to be here, that aren't checked. And we have to pay for their housing. We have to pay for their food. We have to pay for them. Unlike the people that come here legally and contribute into the system. They've had their backgrounds checked. We know who they are. We're seeing criminals coming over here and they're not being deported. Like, the whole thing is crazy. And this is what British people are upset about. And when I say British people, I mean different races that are from here and people that are living in Britain. This is what we are seeing. And so, like I said, people like West Streeting, Ed Miliband, they want to call us names so that when we unite together, we're not looking at them anymore and the destruction that they're causing this country.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go wherever you are.